A young rascal insulted an old man in a store. But the DA intervened. Before we begin, a little roll call. Write down what city you're from, we're curious to know where we're being listened to. Now let's go. It all started when one little bastard decided that old age was a disease and respect was an atavism. It was the most ordinary supermarket, the most ordinary day and seemingly the most ordinary people. Shelves full of goods, sleepy cashiers, grandmothers with shopping carts discussing stocks on buckwheat, and nervous managers making sure someone didn't steal a can of tuna. It's a routine scene like millions of others. But as you know, any boring story can suddenly turn into drama. Or farce. Or a scary but cautionary tale. Raoul, that little bastard, looked like he'd been spit out by a TikTok tape, inflated self-esteem, dreadlocks tied at the top of his head, fancy clothes, and a facial expression that screamed, "The world is mine. The rest of us are trash." He was 23, and he already knew everything about life. At least, he thought he did. "Grandpa, what the hell are you doing?" Raoul's voice was filled with genuine indignation. "Die at home, seriously." It all started when the elderly man in front was digging into his pockets, slowly counting out coins for a packet of bread. His hands were shaking slightly, his eyesight was failing, and each nickel was difficult to count. Raoul stood behind him, shifting nervously from foot to foot, rolling his eyes and sighing defiantly, as if this old man were ruining his complicated schedule as a great man with no time to spare. "Come on, while you're counting your change, life is passing." He clucked his tongue. The old man slowly turned his head and looked at him with faded but still clear eyes. "You'll be patient, son?" "Yeah, sure." "Grandpa, do you realize you're a burden? All you old people do is suck money and air out of us. What are you even doing here? What do you need this bread for when you're already half in the ground?" The air in the supermarket froze. The crowd was silent. The cashier averted her eyes, as if she hoped it would just go away. The security guard standing nearby pretended he wasn't here. No one interfered. The old man remained silent. He just pressed his lips together and continued counting the money. Raoul grinned. What a vegetable. And then a voice came. "Aren't you scared of being so stupid yourself?" Raoul flinched. A woman's voice. Calm, confident. He turned and met the woman's gaze. About 45, maybe a little more. Tall, with dark eyes and neatly gathered hair. A look that made me want to stop being such an asshole. She wasn't yelling or waving her arms or giving a lecture on morality. She just stared. "What?" Raoul said. "Do you have any idea what you're talking about?" The woman repeated. "Of course I do. We young people are working hard, and these," he waved his hand at the old man, "are just sitting on their pensions, waiting for us to bury them." She sighed. "You know," she said, "I have a proposition for you." Raoul grinned. "What, Grandma, are you trying to re-educate me?" "Nope," the woman shook her head. "I want to give you a unique experience. Just try to live it." Raoul squinted. "Is that a threat?" "No," she smiled, but there was no warmth in that smile. "It's an opportunity." The crowd around them stirred. People began to look at each other. Something about what she said didn't feel right. "Who are you, anyway?" Raoul tried to make his voice firmer, but inside he already felt uneasy. The woman slowly pulled her ID out of her pocket. "Isabel Fernandez. The prosecutor." Raoul blinked. The farce was turning into a drama after all. "Wonderful," he muttered. "So you want to sue me for telling the truth?" Isabel laughed. "Oh, no. The law is on your side. You have every right to be a soulless bastard." Raoul smiled, but for some reason he felt uneasy. "Then what's the matter?" Isabel stepped forward and leaned toward him. "The point," she said almost in a whisper, "is that I want you to feel what you're saying." Raoul stepped back involuntarily. "What?" "Just to broaden your horizons a little," she smiled. and you'll understand what it's like to be, well, let's just say out of place. Raoul swallowed. His confidence was starting to fray at the seams. Are you a sectarian? Isabel didn't answer. She just looked him straight in the eye and added. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning you'll be taken away. And you'll understand. She turned and walked toward the exit. Raoul stared after her, trying to comprehend what had just happened. What the fuck? He mumbled. But he knew deep down inside that something had gone wrong. And that wrong was just beginning. Raoul didn't think that a normal trip to the store would end with him in the police station. But here he was, sitting in a hard chair with his hands in his lap, trying to figure out why he'd been dragged in here in the first place. Hooliganism, really? He snorts. Did I hit someone? Did I steal something? No. I just told the truth. Is that a crime now? No one answers him. The cop behind the desk is bored, flipping through some papers. There's a young trainee on the phone in the corner. The station smells of coffee, dust, and eternal fatigue. Hello, is anyone going to explain to me what the fuck I'm doing here? Raoul asks irritably. The policeman looks up lazily. Son, are you aware that insulting someone in a public place is an administrative offense? Raoul rolls his eyes. Come on, man, are you serious? A fine? Come on, how much is it? 1,000 pesos? The cop doesn't say anything. Raoul grins, leaning back in his chair. What a bureaucracy you've got here. All right, let's hurry up, I'll pay and go. And then the door opens. Raoul turns his head and sees her. Isabel Fernandez. Still the same cold, confident, impeccable posture. Steel in her eyes. She walks into the office and slowly removes her coat, brushing invisible dust from it. Raoul cringes. Oh, the grandmother prosecutor has arrived. Did it hurt you so much that I told the truth? Isabel doesn't react. She just sits down across from him and folds her hands on the table. Raúl Garcia, 23 years old, she says softly. 2 priors for fighting. Administrative for barroom brawling. And now another episode. Raúl shrugs. So what? It's not even a crime. Am I free? Almost, Isabel replies calmly. You have a choice. Raúl snorts. A choice? Really? Yes. The first option is a fine. It's easy, you pay and you go. Well, come on, hurry up. And the second option Isabel pauses, looking him straight in the eye is an experiment. Raúl raises an eyebrow. An experiment? You mean that nonsense you were saying at the store? It's not bullshit. It's an opportunity. Raúl laughs. Jesus, you're a real cultist, aren't you? Come on, spill it. Maybe I should take the water test. Or fast for a month? You don't have to do anything, Isabel replies. Just say yes. Raúl crosses his arms across his chest. Well, let's say I agree. What's next? Isabel looks at him with a slight smile. Tomorrow morning you'll be taken away. Where to? To the Science Center. That's where you'll find out. Raúl shakes his head. No, look at her. Do you think I'm that stupid? I think you're that cocky, Isabel replies calmly. You think you know everything about life. Raúl leans back. Look, if you want to scare me, you can't. I don't want to scare you. I want to give you a chance. Raúl snickers. What's the catch? There's no catch. You're just gonna try it. And if you don't like it, you'll leave. Raúl squints. Are you serious? Absolutely. He thinks about it. Well, why not? It's obviously some bullshit, but if it helps him avoid a fine, why not play the game? He shrugs his shoulders. Okay, Grandma. That's settled. Isabel nods and stands up. So, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, then. Don't be late. She heads for the exit. Raoul smirks at her. Don't worry, I like surprises. But he has no idea how much this surprise will change his life. Raoul wakes up shaking. Literally. It was like he was in the body of an old, beat-up truck driving down a bumpy road. Every bump echoed in his spine, every movement a dull, aching pain. What the? A voice. Alien. Muffled, faint, like a cold. Raoul opened his eyes, and immediately squeezed them shut again. His eyes were blurry, as if he'd looked into too bright a light. Are you awake? Someone's voice. A woman's. He tried to sit up, but immediately groaned. Jesus. What's wrong with his hands? Why did they look so shriveled? Raoul inhaled sharply and stared at his fingers. They were thin, dry, with blue veins protruding beneath the skin, with pigmented spots and shaky joints. What is this? His voice trembled. Not from terror, from old age. Raoul lunged forward, but something in his back cracked, and he bent, gasping in pain. Easy, easy, the woman said softly. You shouldn't make any sudden movements. Raoul jerked at the voice and saw a woman in a white coat standing in front of him. She was young, in her 30s, with dark hair in a bun. Who are you? What's going on? The woman smiled, but there was no mockery in her eyes, only sympathy. My name is Dr. Helena Suarez. Welcome to your new experience, Raoul. He looked at his hands again. What the hell is this? This is what you agreed to yesterday. Raoul froze. Memories came over him like a tsunami. The supermarket. The old man. Isabel. The experiment. No, he whispered. No, 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 it's impossible. He tried to stand up. His knees protested. His back arched like an old rusty machine. Raoul collapsed back onto the bunk, panting. What have you done to me? Dr. Suarez folded her arms in front of her. It's a simulation, Raoul. You're still you, but your brain is perceiving reality as if your body is, well, let's say 85 years old. Raoul stared at her, flapping his eyes. Are you out of your mind? Suarez shrugged. Maybe. Raoul jerked forward, wanting to grab her by the collar of her robe, but his fingers clenched weakly, just barely. It's a dream, he murmured. Just a dream. Dr. Suarez sighed. Do you want to check it out? She nodded toward the end of the bed. Pinch yourself. Raoul looked down. His legs were covered with old scars and bruises. His knees looked like someone had tried to put them together from rusty parts. He felt sick to his stomach. He slowly reached up and pinched his wrist. The pain. Dull, but real. No. His heart beat faster. He suddenly realized he was short of breath. I can't breathe. Panic attack, Suarez said calmly. It happens. Breathe slowly. Raoul clenched his eyes shut, trying to pull himself together. It's just a dream. Just a dream. He opened his eyes again. And he was still in the old man's body. Jesus. He suddenly realized that his tears were flowing. It wasn't just a dream. It was real. Why dash, he wheezed. Dr. Suarez sat down next to him. Because you said old people were a burden. That they're useless. That they're vegetables. Raoul looked at her with wide eyes. She smiled. Welcome to old age, boy. Raoul tried to move his legs. They wouldn't listen. They felt heavy, cotton-like, like they were stuffed with wet sand. When he tried to bend his knee, he was pierced by a sharp pain. Shit. He yanked his arm to at least lean on the bed and pull himself up, but his fingers clenched weakly, pathetically, like a child's. Or like an old man's. His eyes were blurring. It wasn't even just blurring, no. The world in front of him was like a dirt-stained screen. Raoul blinked, but it only got worse. "What's wrong with my eyes?" "Cataracts," came a voice. Raoul jerked. Isabel stood in the doorway. Confident, calm as ever. She approached slowly, examining him from head to toe. "How are you feeling?" Raoul clenched his teeth. "What have you done to me?" Isabel tilted her head, as if really pondering his question. "Nothing much. Just gave you a chance to see the world from a different perspective." Raoul clenched his fists. "This isn't normal. Take me back." Isabel sat down on the chair next to the bed. "You said old people are a burden, right?" Raoul froze. Isabel looked straight into his eyes. "Well, you're one of them now. See what it's like to be a burden." Raoul swallowed. His throat was dry. It's not right." Isabel shrugged. "And you're not even in the worst shape. Do you want me to turn on your real sore spots?" "What?" She leaned a little closer. "Real old people live with aches and pains 24/7. Joints burning. Veins swell. Dizziness from any sudden movement. Breathing hitches even if you're just tying your shoelaces." She squinted. "Oh, yeah. You can't tie your shoelaces, can you?" Raoul lowered his gaze to his trembling hands. Swallowed. "Turn it off." Isabel grinned. "You know what's funny?" Raoul raised his eyes to her. "What?" She leaned closer and said quietly. "You're not even in a real senile body. You're just having simulated sensations. But already you're scared." She straightened up. "Imagine what it's like for those who actually live in this body. Who have no one to help them. Who die alone, in cold apartments, on pissed sheets, because their hands can't hold a spoon and their children don't come to visit." She paused. "Now tell me, who is the burden here?" Raoul was silent. He had nothing to say. There was a lump in his throat. Isabel rose. "Sit and think." She headed for the exit. Raoul twitched in panic. "Wait." Isabel stopped at the door. "What?" Raoul was breathing heavily. Is this forever?" Isabel grinned. "What do you think?" And walked out. Raoul was alone. In the body that had become his prison. Raoul stood outside. The wind chilled him to the bone, though the temperature was bearable. He shivered and pulled on the shabby coat he'd been given at the lab. It was gray, drab, and smelled like an old closet. "Okay," he muttered. Just deal with it." He moved forward. Each step echoed the dull ache in his knees. His soles felt every bump in the asphalt, like he was walking barefoot on gravel. But worst of all was the way people looked at him. Or rather, they didn't look at him. The first time he noticed it was when he passed a group of teenagers. Guys about 16 years old, all wearing headphones, dressed in the latest fashion, phones in their hands. They were laughing loudly, discussing something, pushing each other. Raoul was walking right at them. And no one even thought to move aside. He slowed down, expecting them to at least notice him. But one of the guys just rammed his shoulder into him without even apologizing. "Hey!" Raoul said indignantly. The guy didn't even turn around. He just walked on as if he didn't exist. Raoul clenched his teeth. What a freak. He took a deep breath and walked on. The first thing he wanted was coffee. His damn body was shivering, it felt like there was no warmth left in him at all. He walked into a small cafe. The smell of fresh pastries hit his nose, and Raoul felt a little better. He walked over to the counter, leaning against it. The barista, a young girl, didn't even look at him. She was looking at her phone. Raoul coughed. "Good afternoon, may I?" She didn't raise her head. Raoul frowned. A girl? She finally honored him with a look. "A cup of coffee." She jabbed at her phone again. "I'll be right there." Raoul waited. A minute. 2. 3. People came and went. Orders were taken by those who came after him. Raoul frowned. "Girl, I'm still waiting." She sighed irritably, as if he was annoying her. Yes, I see you." But she still didn't pour the coffee. Raoul felt something boiling inside him. He's just being ignored. Like he was nothing. Like he doesn't matter. Like he's an old man. "Well, what did you think?" Isabel's voice echoed in his head. Raoul exhaled, turned around, and walked out. Didn't care about the coffee. It was cold outside, the wind whipping through. Raoul wrapped himself in his coat and walked to the bus stop. The bus came quickly. The doors opened. Raoul slowly, painfully climbed inside. The interior was packed. There were young people in the seats. Students, guys, girls. No one even looked at him. Raoul grabbed the handrail and swayed. The bus moved. He felt his body losing its balance. His strength was lacking. He jerked forward, gripped the handrail, but his legs trembled. He couldn't stand. Raoul looked around the cabin. Would someone give way? Silence. Everyone was looking at their phones. It was like he wasn't there. One girl gave him a furtive glance. Something flashed in her eyes, but she immediately looked away and pretended not to notice. Raoul clenched his teeth. Really? No one even moved. He couldn't take it anymore. "Hey!" he shouted. A couple people looked up. "Will somebody give me a seat?" A guy in his 20s shrugged. "You've been sitting all day, Grandpa. We're on our feet." He grinned. Raoul gasped. He wanted to smash that asshole's face in. But his hands were shaking. He couldn't. He was powerless. He hated the feeling. For the rest of the ride, he remained silent, staring out the window. Now he knew what it was like to be invisible. How it felt to be a burden. How it felt to be gone. Raoul sat on a bench in the park. His old body ached. His knees ached from the walk, his back ached if he relaxed just a little. He didn't understand why old people sat on benches so often, as if they had nothing else to do. Now he understood. Walking is hard. Standing is torture. Sitting was a relief. He looked at the people. The young, rushing about their business, staring at their phones, and the old people just sitting there. Why do they even wake up in the morning? He thought. What's the point? It's the same thing every day. The pain in his body. The cold. The loneliness. I don't care that you were once young, strong, fast. You're nothing to the people around you now. Raoul pressed his lips together. Life sucks, huh? He shuddered. Next to him, on the same bench, sat an old man. Short, thin, with a bald spot and sly eyes. He was chewing a breadcrumb and looking straight at him. Raoul swallowed. What? The old man grinned. I see you're new here. Raoul frowned. What are you talking about? Life, the old man said, crunching his breadcrumbs. You've recently begun to realize what old age is. Isn't that right? Raoul didn't answer. The old man smiled. Oh, don't worry, you're not the first. Everyone goes through it. First anger. Then despair. Then. He raised his eyebrows. Enlightenment. Raoul was silent. The old man took another bite of breadcrumbs. Why do you think we wake up in the morning? Raoul shrugged his shoulders. I don't know. Then listen to this. The old man leaned back on the bench and looked up at the sky. See that old man over there? Raoul followed his gaze. On the other bench sat a gray-haired man. He was feeding pigeons, and next to him sat a woman with a beak. They've been together since they were 16, the old man said. 80 years together. Her health is failing faster than his, but he drags her out here every day. Do you know why? Raoul shrugged his shoulders. Because he loves her? Because if she stays home, she'll go crazy. Raoul looked at the old man. He continued. That woman over there, he nodded at the grandmother with the stick. She was a circus performer when she was young. She used to jump under the dome, perform tricks. Now she's afraid of the stairs, lest she break something. Raoul swallowed again. The old man grinned. We were all young, son. It's just that you're only seeing us now. Raoul didn't know what to say. There was a tightness in his chest. For the first time since he'd been in this body, he felt incredibly ashamed. He realized. For him, the whole world used to be divided into two kinds of people, those who lived and those who lived to see the end of their lives. But he was wrong. They don't live. They live. Just in a different way. Raoul was sitting on the same bench in the park when an old man lowered himself next to him. Tall, thin, but with a proud posture. Black leather jacket, shabby but clearly a favorite. Dark glasses, which he immediately removed, revealing a keen, piercing gaze. Been watching you a long time, kid. Raoul grimaced. Do I look like I'm new here? The old man grinned. I can tell by you that you don't realize who you are. Raoul didn't answer anything. Sergio. The old man held out his hand. Raoul shook it. A firm grip. Not at all like the old man's. Who are you, anyway? Sergio grinned. Used to be? A pilot. Raoul raised his eyebrows in surprise. A real one? The real thing. He pulled a small keychain out of his pocket, a miniature airplane. You know what the worst thing about being old is? Raoul looked at him. Sergio smiled, but there was sadness in his eyes. Not the body. What is? That people stop seeing you as a person. Raoul swallowed. Do you think old people are just old people? Sergio leaned closer. No, boy. Every old man is a story. A whole life you don't even realize. Raoul was silent. I had the sky, Sergio continued. There was flying, adrenaline. I've flown in ways you can't even dream of. He sighed. Now I walk into a store and the cashier talks to me like I'm a child. Raoul pressed his lips together tightly. He understood. He understood now. But you know what I'll tell you, kid? Sergio grinned. I can still fly. Raoul looked at him skeptically. What, in dreams? The old man snorted. No, in life. And suddenly. He jumped. Quickly, easily, unexpectedly. Ended up on the bench, arms outstretched. See? Raoul stared. Are you, what, normal? Sergio laughed. Old doesn't mean dead, kid. Raoul nodded slowly. He was beginning to understand. Beginning to see. Raoul opened his eyes. He was in the same lab. Everything around him was slightly floating, as if he had just woken up after a very long sleep. But something was wrong. He raised his hand, and saw his own hand. Young. Strong. No trembling. No pain. He's back. How does it feel? The voice. Raoul turned his head sharply. Isabel was standing against the wall, arms crossed over her chest. She was looking at him with a slight smile, but there was a question in her eyes. Raoul swallowed. Am I me again? Did you think it was forever? She grinned. We're not monsters, Raoul. He inhaled deeply. His body obeyed. No pain. No weakness. But inside he was different. Isabel stepped closer. You understand, don't you? Raoul looked at her. Nodded slowly. Yes. She blew out a breath. Then get going, then. Raoul stood up. Walked to the door. But before he went out, he heard it. Raoul. He turned around. Isabel was looking straight into his eyes. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Raoul held his breath. Then nodded. And walked out. He didn't remember how he'd gotten here. His feet had just led him back to where it all began. That very store. Raoul walked in. Same counters. Same cash registers. It was like nothing had changed. But he had. He was walking slowly along the rows when he saw her. An old woman. Small, bent over, with a cart bag she was pulling behind her. She was standing in front of the milk cooler, trying to reach the top shelf. Raoul didn't hesitate. Just walked over. Just took the bottle and handed it to her. The old woman looked at him in surprise. Then she smiled. Wow, miracles do happen. Raoul smiled too. And then. He just moved on. Now he knew. Raoul sat in the cafe, staring into his cup of coffee. There was a strange feeling in his head. Like he was back from a trip that no one but him remembered. Seated next to him was his friend, Luis. The same Luis they used to joke about ancestors with while they ate burgers. Louis clapped him on the shoulder. Where have you been? Raoul silently took a sip of coffee. Louis squinted his eyes. There's something wrong with you. Raoul grinned. Oh, come on. Seriously. You're kind of weird. Raoul looked at him. Luis was the same as before. Young. Carefree. Just as Raoul had been not so long ago. Luis waved his hand toward an older man who was struggling to climb the steps outside the cafe. Look, Grandpa, I think he's about to fall apart. Raoul didn't smile. Just said. Did you think you'd be different yourself? Luis froze. What? Raoul leaned back in his chair. He watched the barista lazily avert his gaze from the old man at the entrance. How no one rushes to help. How people just don't notice. He looked at his friend. You know what the worst part is? Louis raised his eyebrows. One day I'm going to be them. He took a sip of coffee. And so will you. Luis opened his mouth, but didn't say anything. And Raoul just stared at the street. Now he saw.